I'm the guy who wears $10 Uniqlo t-shirts while talking to random people on Reddit, getting accused, getting called a grifter. What does that actually mean? That is who I am. Not the kind of guy who wakes up at 6:30 in the morning on the dot, takes a shower, meditates. No, that's not who I am. What's up, guys? In today's video, which is the first episode of the late night startup show, I show you what I do after hours. And this is going to be a very different kind of show to the making stuff up show, which I'm still debating if I want to continue or not, because most of that content is just not very authentic. It doesn't really show you what it's actually like to work on a startup. It just gives you these manufactured, artificially created tidbits of information. And I know while that is useful to some people, I don't think it's really useful to most of you guys out there. I mean, if I was looking for content on startups, I'd find plenty of content about how exactly to run a startup, what exactly to do, how to build an MVP. I think that's all there. What is not there is a show that really shows you what it's like to work on something on the side, how unglamorous it can be. There's no highlight reel. In fact, I don't think there are really that many highlights in this process, at least for most people. For me, it's all a highlight reel.
I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me,
because I get to talk to all these people about this concept I'm trying to create into a product, and that's enough of a highlight reel for me. But yeah, let's dive right into what I'm doing tonight. I am actually, funnily enough, editing a YouTube video, which is kind of weird. I know you're like, why? You're probably wondering, why are you not working on your startup? Why are you editing a YouTube video instead? Well, it's actually part of my process, you see. It's how I learn about the concepts I come across. It's how I digest these concepts. Ever heard of that thing where if you can explain something to someone, then you know what that something is well enough, right? Yeah, if you can explain it, that's kind of how it goes. But anyways, you can explain a concept to someone, then you probably know it well enough to apply it to your own work. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Right now, I'm editing a video on how to build an MVP. I think there's just so much misunderstanding in this space. People think that an MVP is something that you just cobble together really quickly, just build out of scratch really quickly. You can be broken and all. And while that's great and all, nowadays people want somewhat of a polished product. I'm not saying you should go crazy with your features. Don't go into feature creep mode. Don't just come up with as many features as you can and then just offer any old benefit to your user only to frustrate them. You don't want to do that. With an MVP, you want to focus on 1, 2, 3 core features, focus on that main set of benefits that will deliver 80% of the value you're trying to create with your product. And it doesn't require weeks and weeks of development. It can just be, like 4 weeks, 3 weeks to create together an MVP. And I'm only telling you this because I kind of went wrong so many times with my side projects. I thought to build an MVP, I needed to have all these fancy features. I remember I was working on this legal tech project, this side project that was supposed to show you all these places where you could find free legal advice in New York City, which is where I live. And I thought it had to be a map. I thought I had to create this fancy map where I could show every single location for free legal advice. Now, it turns out that wasn't actually necessary. I mean, it was a nice to have, but it shouldn't have been part of my MVP because it delayed launch by 4 months, I think, because we outsourced a lot of the front end. So the mistake I made there was I thought in order to deliver a benefit, I needed to come up with a very hefty feature that would create this perfect user experience that would make people use my product. No, I could have just shown that information in list form. I could have even made it a Google Doc. I could have just created a Google Doc, put together the 100 places where you could find free legal advice, and then just shared it with a whole bunch of people on Twitter and Facebook. I think that would have been far more effective and far more time efficient than coming up with this whole Google Maps tracker application that really didn't end up going anywhere. But that was actually because I didn't really understand marketing and how to launch a product. Anyways, that's something I'll talk about next time. I'm going to finish editing this video, and I cannot get this camera right. Finished editing that video, which will be up in 2 days. 2 days from now? Yeah, 2 days from now. So check it out for sure. I'll now be doing a lot of Reddit outreach because, as you guys know, probably know from my previous video, if you've been watching my stuff, if you haven't, watch it. It's great if you want to know how to talk to users, because boy have I learned a lot from books like the Mom Test, where you actually, like a book that actually talks about how to talk to users. It's just such an underappreciated skill. But anyways, right now I'm gonna do a lot of Reddit outreach. I'm gonna actually be going on Reddit, talking to a bunch of random people, trying to get their thoughts on this whole like outreach as like a product thing. But yeah, just by finding out more about the problem they're facing and the problem I want to solve. Anyways, so as you can see, I am looking through my feed right now. This is definitely a post I want to respond to. You got the idea. It's gonna take like 30 minutes for me to hit around 10 threads for each subreddit that I have labeled as relevant to the problem I'm trying to solve. And the purpose of doing this is just to recruit more people into my subreddit. If you read Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, you'll know how important having a community around your product is, because the more people you have in your community, the more likely people will be to use your product, because they'll start maybe hearing about the benefits of your product from people in that community who also have the problem you're trying to solve. I'm not going to be selling my product like how startups usually sell their product. I'm going to be offering my product. Of course, I'm going to charge people, but I'm just going to mention it. I'm not going to say things like, hey, use my product. Hey, use my product. Pitch it like crazy. No, I'm just going to say, this is the product that will do this, that, and the other. If you care enough about what it offers, buy it, and then you'll get the benefits. I want it to be an exchange where the user is happy to hand over value in exchange for value. Value for value. Pretty fair, right? So I'll be doing an hour of this Reddit outreach, and I'm probably not going to be filming after that because I'm just too tired. My startup job is from 9 to 7. From 7 to 9, I try to do other things besides work, like eating dinner and maybe reading a bit. Maybe that's not true. I do a lot of Reddit outreach during that time. You just can't get away from it. And when you have so many people DMing you on Reddit, you just can't really get away from it. It's like you have all these people trying to ask you for help, and you can help them. So yeah, it's kind of like interweaved into my, as you can see, I've been talking a lot, but that is all for today, guys. As you can see, it's not glamorous. It's just like a continual stream of work. Perhaps I'll make a more lucid, more straightforward vlog slash tutorial slash telling you about startup life in a future video, but this video is what I do after work. Thanks again for watching episode 1 of the Late Night Startup Show. I'm about to lose my voice. See you in the next video.